This is part 2 of my video on the Weltron 2001 Spaceball. In the first video, I went over the different varieties of Spaceballs there are. Then I discussed some of the features of the Spaceball. I plugged in my Fleetwood branded Spaceball to see what was wrong with it. I determined that the 8-track player drive belt had completely failed, that one of the panel lamps had blown, that the volume control was in need of cleaning, and that the antenna needed mending. Next, I went through the easy process of opening up the Spaceball and the not so easy process of opening up the mechanism to access the drive belt and lamp. Finally, I started the process of mending the antenna and making it look as original as possible. If you didn't watch that video, I invite you to watch it here. We're going to pick up where I left off. I got this belt in a kit of flat belts I bought off Amazon. It looks like a good fit, but I need to be sure. If it's too tight or too loose, it will make its way off the flywheel. The best way to be sure is to run it for a while and see if the belt drifts. I've got 12 volts hooked up from my bench power supply through the cigarette lighter plug. It's on tape. The way to fool the machine into thinking a tape has been inserted is by pulling this reed switch. The belt is not wandering. The other thing that can cause a problem is if the belt is too wide. I'm going to let it run off camera for a while and just keep an eye on it. That just saved me having to wait a couple of weeks for a belt to get here. The next issue is replacing the bulbs with LEDs. Existing bulbs are in these funny shaped grommets, and I've read that they often don't want to come out. So I'm going to try and push on it from behind and get them out. It took some time, but I was able to push them out with a nut pick. I don't recall seeing this light over here light up even once. Quite blackened on the inside, so it's probably dead. Now I feel more validated for choosing to replace all the lamps with LEDs. The power light is run off 12 volts. That could be an LED with a 1 kilo ohm resistor in series. Program indicators also run off the 12 volt supply. Only one is on at once. If I can find where 12 volts connects to the selector switch, then I can put in one 1K resistor there, and I'm good for all 4 LEDs. This is the switch with the 4 outputs to the different lights. The blue is V-12. They use this point as a tie point to send 12 volts somewhere else. So if I want to put a resistor there, I'm going to have to make a junction of these two and then a resistor from that junction to this place. The stereo light circuit expects a 6 volt 20 milliamp bulb or about a 300 ohm load connected to the collector of transistor Q21. If it's less than that, the transistor is not going to be completely in cutoff when there's no FM stereo signal. That means if I connect a 10 milliamp LED, it will need to have a dummy load across it to draw some extra current. Otherwise, the LED will not extinguish when there is an FM monaural signal. I've tacked this resistor, it's 1K. It's easiest to do it over here. I thought that 5mm LEDs would fit in, not easily, so I'm using 3mm LEDs. It's working. What was very challenging was to run these wires so that they didn't touch the belt. If they do touch the belt is pushed off the flywheel, and then it has to be taken apart again. That is a very time-consuming and frustrating activity for the afternoon. It seems to be clearing the belt now. To reduce the scratchiness of the controls, you don't use contact cleaner, you use fader cleaner. And this is the stuff I use, Deoxit F5. It's sprayed into the controls, and then you work the control to smooth out the carbon track. It does work very well. It does not work miracles, though. The head looks clean, but you really can't tell by looking. Best thing to do is take a long Q-tip with isopropyl alcohol and gently wipe the head. More of a problem is the capstan. The capstan gets covered by the oxide from the tape. It also gets covered by graphite, which is the lubricant used in the cartridge. And all that has to happen is the capstan has to get a little sticky. Then the tape, instead of winding by it, it's wound around it, and that doesn't end well. You also have to get the contacts on the left. That's for the automatic program change. And these are the Q-tips I use. Q-tips of unusual size. For elephants, I guess. I wiped the tape head and I got nothing. At least nothing visible. Wiping the contacts, I got a little. wiping the capstan, I've got a lot, and this is just my first swab. And I haven't even gone all the way around it yet. And the next swab, yeah, it's really dirty, but that's normal. One last test before beginning to put it back together. It's running on AC now. I got one speaker hooked up. And my reflection. Let's try FM.
The 1-2.
Okay, FM. Looks like I've got a very sensitive stereo light. But nice and bright. That's nice. Very sensitive FM stereo light. Perhaps too sensitive. Let's try a tape. Yeah, 60s surf, courtesy of the Ventures. I think it works. Maybe a little uneven, but that could be the tape. I'm going to go back and change that FM stereo light shunt resistor. It's on this board right over here, which is the FM multiplex board. Just lift it out and the shunt resistor goes on the other side. And there it is right there. And there it isn't. And there it is with a 510 ohm half-watt resistor. The antenna repair I started in the first video is finished. The antenna can be easily extended now, and the new tip looks convincing. My Fleetwood IT1335, aka Weltron 2001 Spaceball, has been repaired and now looks and works as it should. I hope you enjoyed this video from Mr. Brown's Basement. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more interesting and unusual and possibly silly videos.